Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it happens to be for you. I hope you are doing very, very well. I'm Mia, and today we're going to be talking about all things Tottenham, because a lot of stuff has actually happened. I haven't really spoken about it, so I thought I would hop on a quick live to speak about what my thoughts are with all that's been going on at Tottenham. We've got a fair few things to speak about, so let's get into it. So the first thing I want to speak about was Romero, because there has been so many different reports about Romero leaving or staying. There is so many varied things that have been said, but what I've seen, my personal opinion from what I've read, is that we are basically going to outprice anybody who does actually come in for him. He has spoken, apparently, again, this is just apparently, according to rumours, to somebody, Atletico Madrid. So, like, they are speaking between themselves. So, this is what I've read. This was a day ago. Atletico Madrid have contacts with Romero and his agents in the last 48 hours, sources can confirm. Romero is Atletico Madrid's main target to reinforce the centre-back position at the club. Diego Simeone loves QT and wants him at the club, as informed before. He did make that comment that he would like QT. I mean, who wouldn't want QT? Sources suggest that Cristian Romero would love to join Atletico Madrid. Diego Simeone is a key figure in the operation, with Julian Alvarez also important, as he is in regular contact with QT. Contract terms are not an issue for Cristian Romero to move to Atletico Madrid. However, Tottenham Hotspur are not interested in selling QT. It will make the move complicated. The Tottenham Hotspur hierarchy believe that Cristian Romero is an important player for the club and are not interested in anything less than €70 million plus package. This is a figure is difficult for Atletico at the minute. Atletico Madrid are planning to offer a package worth €50 million, with €42 million fixed plus €8 million in performance-based bonuses. They are not willing to offer more than €50 million or €55 million package as of now. Atletico Madrid are hoping for Tottenham Hotspur to lower their demands. They believe Tottenham will be under pressure during the last weeks of the window, as Cristian Romero's contract expires in June 2027, and they won't want to enter the last year of his deal next summer, as he will lose sale value if he doesn't sign a new deal. So that is what was said. Now, it is such a tricky one, because if a player wants to leave that much and he refuses to sign a contract, like what we had with Harry Kane, I always believe that we should let them go, because I just feel like, why are we keeping them if they really, really don't want to be here? Is he going to down tools? I don't know about that. But if he really sincerely doesn't want to be here, that's an issue for me. And if he is going to feel like we're blocking his way, again, he's not going to sign a contract, and again, it's going to be an issue. Exactly like what I said with Harry Kane, if he wants to go, he needs to go. As much as I don't want him to go, I feel like he needs to make the choice of either he signs a contract or he goes. I think that leaving him in the last year of his contract is really silly. I think we won't get enough money for him. So, yeah, man, for me, I would say he needs to go, if that's how he really does feel. But we don't know that's how he feels. I know a lot of people go back to, he spoke about La Liga when he was given an interview on our training ground, I think it was. But he gets asked questions, and I don't know what people expect him to really say. I just think that it's silly, because they're not given the context of the question that he was actually asked. And I think that people just think, he keeps going on and on about it. But if I was remembering correctly, I think he was asked about it. I think, don't, like I say, quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that he was asked about it. So, yeah, I just, like I say, I get a bit confused with people who get so uptight about it. Like, I just feel like, why are you getting so uptight if he's mentioning it, if he's been asked a question? So, I don't know. Like for me, it isn't like the biggest of deals. Players get asked questions all the time about different things, so it is what it is. But as far as it goes with him leaving, like I say, I wouldn't want him to leave because I do think he is a fantastic player. But I really don't think that it's a good idea to keep him and force him to kind of stay with 1 year left on his contract. I think that would also be a really, really silly thing to do. And I don't think it will do us any favours. Like, I'm going to be honest, I just don't think it will do us any favours at all. I think that it will cause issues. It will cause issues, and I just don't know if we really want to be causing those issues with him. And I don't know if we want to let him put up a fight and a fuss and then get to the end of the transfer window and be like forced, not forced, but have our hand forced in a way. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Would you sell Romero for a price? Or do you think that we should maybe try and keep hold of him for 1 more year? Like, obviously, people are going to be saying different things. So I would be really interested to know. I know a lot of people are saying just sell him. So I appreciate that and I understand that. So I think that is understandable. But like I say, I think he is a fantastic player, and if we can tie him down to a new contract and say to him, "This is our plan," etc., then that would be fantastic too. But if he's got his heart set, it's difficult. As if he's got his heart going. As I say, it is a tricky one. My screen to the little thing on my computer, so I don't know what's going on. Let me know what you think and let me know in the comments. Then the next thing I wanted to talk about was Frank. Now, it's a bit of a funny one with Frank because a lot of people are still a little bit not anti him, but not quite on board. And then you've got other people who are the other extreme, who are like really over the top about him, which I'm not over the top about him. I want to see what he can do, but I'm not going to be like, oh my God, everything he does, everything he says is amazing, because we don't know yet, because at Tottenham it's a completely different kettle of fish. It is completely different. It isn't like being at Brentford. I think that's what we've got to consider, that it is a lot different. And I just think to myself, why would you be like over the top about him either way? Like, there's not a necessity. I can't think of the word. Necessity. There we go. Eventually, to do that. So yeah, I think that for me, what he said in these interviews was really good. I liked what he said. I liked that he spoke about Ange, and he said that we are on the building on what Ange had done. We're building up from something that he did, which was big and important. And I think that was really nice that he did that. That was a lovely little touch, that he showed such respect to Ange, which I think is important to do. And I wish more of our fans would actually do that, because I feel like that a lot of fans are disrespecting Ange, disrespecting the cup, because they're saying it was an easy cup to win, rah, 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 the run wasn't that good, blah, blah, blah. None of them teams are that good, blah, 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 even though some of them are now going to be in the Champions League. I think that is just disrespectful, and we won it. You have to win it. So if you're in it and you don't win it, then you're a loser and you don't win it. So he didn't. He actually won it. We had Jose go out to worse teams. We had times where we've been in Europa and we've gone out really early doors or whatever. So yeah, other teams have done the same. Other teams have been in it for years and years and never won it. Cough, cough, Arsenal. So yeah, for me, you've got to be in it to win it, man, and we won it. So show respect on that. Anyway, going off on a tangent, but yeah, with Frank, like I say, I enjoyed what he said. I think that he was speaking about winning. I think he was talking about us being serial winners. He was talking about importance of certain players. Again, all fantastic. I really really, 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 enjoyed what he But what I will say is that a lot of people are saying there's no expectations on Frank. Now, I don't believe this should be the case. I think the expectations are on all managers. This includes Frank. And I'm not going to change that because we didn't change it for any of our other managers. That was never ever the case. It was always a case of that you need to try and win, because winning is what it's all about. Trophies is what it's all about. We all know that, because when they count up trophies, that's how they determine who's the best of the best, is how many trophies that you've won. And when it comes down to it, that's what gets thrown in our faces when we haven't been winning. So for it now to change is just mad. Second will never be remembered in 50 years' time. When we were second with Pochettino, I'm never going to say to my children, we were second, we were third, we were fourth. I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say to my grandchildren is that we won a European trophy. That's what you want to be able to say. And I said the same thing when Harry Kane left. I said he wants to sit down at the end of his career, when he starts to have grandchildren, and say to his grandchildren, I won these medals, this is what I have won, because that is what is important. Winning is important. Winning something is very, very important. So I don't really understand this notion of it not being important, when we all know that when it comes down to it, those winner medals are what gets shown when, as you get older and you you've done your career and you live your life. What goes up is the achievements that you've done. Like when you go on any program, they always put the achievement under the banner. Like they don't say they were second in this year and third in this year. They don't. They put on what they won. So yeah, I think, like I say, that is extremely important. And despite what other people say, I feel like we need to have that pressure still on Frank. I'm not saying that he's going to win something straight away, but I do think it's important that we keep that standard of winning. So I don't think that should be lowered. This year, I want to be as far as possible in the two cups that are more gettable, which is the FA Cup and the League Cup, because the Champions League and the Prem, I feel, are out of reach. Get as far as possible, obviously, as we can in the Champions League, 100%, like 100%. But I think it's crazy to say that it don't matter, we don't have to go as far in those cups because it's not the pressure, it's about being higher up in the league. No, if we go out of all the cups early, and including the Champions League, and we get 8th or 7th, I'm not going to see that as good, because I want us to be in those competitions for as long as possible to try and win them, especially, like I say, the cups, because I believe the FA Cup and the League Cup are the two gettable cups. So absolutely not. So I feel that people who are downplaying that, I don't really understand, because trophies are what are important. That's what's important. So Frank, for me, has to get as high up as possible in the league, and also go as far as possible in the League Cup and the FA Cup. And of course, let's see what happens in the Champions League. But if he doesn't go past, if we have to play a playoff game and we lose that playoff game to get into it, the next stages, not group stages, the semi-finals, quarter-finals stages, I'm not going to be upset about it, basically. I'm just going to be like, okay, cool. Because obviously I didn't expect us with the Champions League, as it's a very hard competition. So I wouldn't be expecting of him with that. And the Premier League is the same. I don't expect him to be finishing 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or I don't expect him to be challenging for the league, because I don't think that is feasible. But you never know. I mean, you never ever know. But it's just not, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that it's important for us to still hold standards to some level, but not go well over the top of those standards, but keep standards, because people always talk about standards of our club, and me, I want us to win, and that's for me what was important. And we did win, and now we need to continue to win, and that's what Frank said. He wants us to be serial winners. So he said it out of his own mouth. So for me, that's the standard that we should also keep. I don't think we should lower them because of who came in and that someone new has come in, because we have never ever done that. We have never ever done that. So no. do not say that we can't have standards. Don't say that we can't say that we want Frank to do this and this, because I think that's just, it's crazy in my opinion to not give him those standards like we would any other manager. And then we have got Daniel Levy's comments about winning the Premier League and the Champions League, and I don't really know what that he was on. I don't know if he was a little bit on the old tipsy side from apparently this red wine that they drink, which, red wine. I don't really like wine anyway, but to red wine especially. But I think that, again, he can't do right for doing wrong, because everybody was, well, not everybody, but a lot of people come out and say he's not got standards, he doesn't want to win, he never talks about us winning. And then when he does speak about us winning or wanting us to win, they go, oh my God, that's ridiculous, we ain't never going to win it. So again, I don't know what you expect him to do. Me personally, I didn't take it too seriously, because I was a bit like, really? I suppose, maybe, possibly, we could try, I guess. But if you put the money in and get the players, then yeah, cool. But if you're not, I don't know what you expect, miracles. Like, I don't think that's going to happen, Daniel. So I think, again, on a level-headed, plain like view, like, I think that we have to be realistic and say that that is a really, really high expectation. But like I say, everybody who says Daniel Levy doesn't want to win, Daniel Levy doesn't want us to do well, he only cares about the business side, etc., 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 then he's come out and said this, and then everyone say, no, that's a lie. The thing is, just because he didn't say it before doesn't mean it wasn't true before. It doesn't mean that now that he said it, it's more true. Do you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean just because he said it out loud. So he said it out loud, and cool, he said it out loud now. Does it mean that he thought that before? Possibly. I think it was. I think so. I don't think he ever sort of thought, oh, I'm going to get this team to lose. I don't think he ever thought, oh, I'm going to not care if we lose, because I think that he did care. I think he did care, but maybe just not like a fan would, because fans feel differently, and that's okay too, because everybody's allowed to feel the way they feel. I think that he comes from a different perspective, so that's fine, because he comes from a different perspective to us. I don't think it means that he feels it any less, or that he means it any less. So I still think that he means it. I still think that he does want to win. I don't think that he, like I say, thinks to himself, oh, I'm not going to win. So yeah, I don't think that's the case at all, personally. That's my own personal view. Let me know what you think. But yeah, like I say, him saying it, like, it doesn't mean that that we are actually going to do it at any point. But maybe he just meant that in some point in the future we're going to do it. He didn't say any kind of specific date that we want it to be won by. So again, he made it quite vague, because he's saying, well, we want to win it. I mean, I want a lot of things. It doesn't mean I'm going to get them. Like, I wouldn't mind being up close and personal for Romero, but it ain't going to happen, is it? Just because I want it doesn't mean it's going to happen. So sometimes just wanting stuff isn't really quite enough. Like, I want a lot of things. I'm sure a lot of people want a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that that's actually going to happen. So, like I say, there's like a difference. There's a difference to wanting something and actually achieving that thing. But you have to put in the best possible. You've got to give the best possible. I think the word. Oh my God, what's the matter with me this morning? You've got to think of, like, you've got to give the best possible chance for that outcome. So for him to give that best possible chance for that outcome, that means he should be buying players. Like, he has to buy players, and he has to get the recruitment, have to get it spot on. The manager has to get it spot on, because not everything that Daniel does means that we win or lose, because we've been in situations where we had opportunities to win and the players were good enough to get us to that point, but not good enough to get us over the line. So again, that's down to managers and players as well. So it all has to fit together just right and perfectly for it to happen. And sometimes you get that by a bit of luck. Maybe what people will say is that Postecoglou did have that, a little bit of the rub of the green when it came to us winning the trophy. But you still have to do it. You still have to step over that white line and do what you need to do as players, and the manager has to do what he needs to do to make sure that you win that game. And someone like Mourinho is obviously well known for games like that, where it comes to the crunch, that he's got the know-how and the like ability to be able to get teams over that line. And that's important to be able to have that. And that's why I say the manager has to be right, and also the players. With the league, it's a long season, and you've got to do things right, like week in, week out, which makes it, so like I say, a lot harder. And in the Champions League, you've got to do up against some top European opponents. So that's why it's so difficult to be able to do that, because of your opponents are, quite top tier, top level. Once you get past the knockouts, like the group stages or the group table stages, and it's knockout football, you have to have that know-how and be able to do it, which is hard. So yeah, I think that's obviously something that people have to consider when it comes to winning the Premier League and winning a bigger cup like the Champions League against big opponents. If we went back into the Europa, I would again want us to go as far as possible and try and win it again. I think that there's no reason why that can't be done. And I think that is a reasonable expectation. Like I say, I want us to get back into Europe next year to be able to do it, whether we do it by winning a cup, which I want us to try and do, but it doesn't mean that we will, or with our place in the league, then yeah, I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy with that, because I think that it's important for us to try and stay and get into as many competitions as possible, and to try and win those competitions that are winnable, which isn't always, like I say, easy, and it doesn't always go your way. So it is what it is with that. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't expect Hans Frank to try and do those things, because I think that's disingenuous, because all the other years I expected it, or I wanted it, and not expected it, but I wanted it. And when Ange made all those changes against Fulham, I wasn't happy, because I wanted him to take those competitions seriously. But then we got into fifth, and then we went in the Europa League and we won it. So, but you can't predict the future, so you don't know that at the time. So that's, something I couldn't have predicted. So for me, I wasn't going to sit here and say that, oh, well, it was okay because he obviously did what he did, because that's not the case, is it? Because I didn't know that was going to be the actual case. So yeah, as I say, I think that what Levy said is interesting, to say the absolute least. And I don't know if it's really something that is really something we can do. But again, let him, if he wants to say that, then people are going to obviously hold that against him again. They're going to say, well, you said this, Daniel, and we didn't do it. So I think that's fine, because people then can hold him to that standard, and that's fine to hold him to that standard that he has now given. And I think that that's not a bad thing, because we all want him. A lot of people have been saying they want him to have standards. So if you want him to have standards, then I think then that's what you've got to say that he's tried to do. That's what you've got to do, I think. So that's just my, obviously, point of view, not anybody else's point of view. This is my personal point of view. And as I always say, everybody is entitled to support the team how they see fit. Like, I've got absolutely no problem with that. I've got no problem with that, because I think that it's important for everybody to have their own opinion, and for people to have their own thoughts, and to think differently is never a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing at all. I think people understand. I think people think that thinking differently is negativity, when it isn't necessarily negativity. It only gets into the realms, I think, of being negative is when you are doing it for the sake of doing it. So you're just being like you're just saying things that are not necessarily negative, like not necessarily that bad. Like people might say things just to be saying it, basically, and that comes across like you're being just a little bit like negative because there's just no need for it. If you're overly criticizing for no reason, like there's just, like I say, there's no need to do it. You can just be a bit more, I don't know, like a bit more like, okay, this and this, and then just move on. But people who go on and on and on and on about the same thing all the time, and you just think, oh my goodness, like that's too much. So I don't think that's, like I say, having a difference of opinion isn't negativity. I think maybe people misunderstand what that actually is. But yeah, for me, I think it's important for everybody to have their own opinions. I think it's important for everybody to get across their opinions. I think that it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I really don't. I think that we all need to maybe listen sometimes to people who we don't agree with, because I think that is important. I think it's important to understand where somebody else's perspective is coming from. And I think it's important to always have an open mind and listen to other people, and really like try and see that maybe just because they've got a different point of view to you, it doesn't mean that they're negative or that they are purposely trying to get at you. Like I always say, I always try and really say that I'm not aiming this at anybody, but if you think this is about you, then clearly that's because you obviously think that you have done the things that I've said, or you're thinking the things that I've said. So it isn't aimed at anybody. Whenever I talk, I've never really got anybody in my mind to think, oh, it's about them. Because if I did, I'll just say their names, man. Just say their name. Destiny Child in it. Say my name in it. But I ain't like that, because I'm just not like that as a person. I just don't think there's any point. If I've got something to say to somebody, I'll just say it to them. If I really think there's anything that bad, but it's just football. It's just talking about football. So I don't really get why people get so vexed and like about people's opinions and talking about other people and getting all, I don't know, I can't explain it, but basically not being very nice about people because they've got a difference of opinion, and the insults that go around, and this person said this and this person said that. Like honestly, it's just football opinions, man. It's just football opinions. At the end of the day, that's all it is. And we've all, like I say, support. I've always said this. We all support the club, and we've all got our path that we get there. So we all love Tottenham, and we all want Tottenham, what's best for Tottenham. So all we we've just got a different path to how we get to that, end point of where we want to do the best. And everybody's paths is different, and some of our paths cross over where we do actually agree, and some people's paths, they're completely different to your path, and that's absolutely fine. Like everybody is more than entitled to have that. I just, like I say, I don't get this whole getting at each other thing, and it just makes YouTube and speaking about Tottenham just not a very nice place when that actually happens. So that isn't really for me. Like that isn't the one. I just don't think that it's the way to behave. I don't think it's the way you should want to conduct yourself. And I think that it's important for everybody to feel that they can have their own opinion. So I don't feel like I should be going on anyone's channel and then being spoken about, or like, if I'm not that I do go on anyone's channel anymore, but if I did, or I rarely do anyway. I have done. I tell her I have done, but I very, very rarely do. But I shouldn't feel like that now this video might get clipped up because I said something, or like spoken about, she said this and she said that. Like, honestly, no, just have your opinion. You don't need to use my opinion to try and like prove your point. Just speak about your opinion, man. Don't speak about anybody else's. That should be how it should be. That is how it should be. But there we go. That's me sitting on my soapbox about it. But anyway, please take very, very, very good care of yourselves, especially when it's hot like this. Please make sure you drink plenty of water and keep yourself out of the sun when it's the hottest time, because we don't want nobody to get heat stroke or dehydrated. So please take good care of yourselves, and we'll speak again real soon.